everybody in the game can see what's going on. And it is, of course, Nicov versus TaToh in the lower bracket now. We've already seen two players eliminated this tournament, and this is going to be another one of those elimination games. I'm joined once again by Resonance22.
Thank you so much for having me today, Zach. It's always a pleasure to be here, and the games before this so far have been excellent. We will have those, of course, on our corresponding YouTube channels, and if you haven't seen some of them, they've been really, really good. In this particular game, it looks like we're once again going to see the Vietnamese taking on the Malay, so every single one of the new Rise the Raja civs has seen play now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I've been told, I don't want to spoil or anything, but I've been told this is quite a long game. So we're in it to win it. And Vietnamese could be coming in to shine here. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm excited to see how this one's going to go. TaToh over to the east of the map in the blue, playing as the Vietnamese over here. And over to the northwest in the red, we have Nicov playing as the Malay.
So for those of you who are new to Rise of the Rajas, it is available on Steam. We'll be there on December 19th. The Malay are a very interesting civ. You can kind of consider them to be a naval and infantry civilization, although they do have decent archers. The thing that defines them the most is going to be that they advance to the next age twice as fast, 100% faster, and then the Vietnamese are just a very strong archer civilization. They're a little bit slow, but once they get to the late game, they have a very powerful death ball with battle elephants and rattan archers. All their units are quite bulky, and the thing that defines them as a civilization is that their archer range units gain additional HP as they advance through the ages.
Yeah, and you know, we've not seen many of those battle elephants yet this tournament, actually. That's something that I've noticed we have really been missing. And, you know, if there's any two civs out of the four, I think these civs work well for battle elephants. For the Malaysians, they are 20% cheaper, which is a nice bonus. And for the Vietnamese, they don't have any bonus for their for their elephants. I thought they did. I was confused. But no, I kind of hope that we do see those battle elephants, though. And I think the Malaysians are one of the most viable civs to make them due to that cost reduction.
Yes, their battle elephants are indeed 20% cheaper. And the steep cost in battle elephants is one of the things that holds them back as a unit. And, well, the Malay have a particularly strong battle elephant rush because of that. And if we look at the Vietnamese battle elephants, they're actually quite different than the other civs. So they have the unique technology Chatras, which adds an additional 30 HP onto them, which does make them quite bulky. It's just that they crucially lack husbandry. So Vietnamese battle elephants are bulky but very slow, and they also miss blast furnace. So Vietnamese battle elephants are also quite vulnerable to kiting, and without any strong, true economic bonus, it can be quite difficult for them to get to the late game to actually leverage that bonus.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't think the Vietnamese had a bonus for their battle elephants, and indeed they don't have a bonus, but they do have that unique technology which gives them the bonus HP. So yeah, Chatras, and you're right. I mean, they will have very different battle elephants when it comes down to it, because yeah, like you say, the Malay will just have them cheaper. They'll be pretty standard, but the Vietnamese, they get the bonus HP, but there is a trade-off there with the lack of text, like you say. I mean, I would like to see the battle elephants a bit more because it's one of the units we haven't seen as much. But what about the Rattan Archer? We've not seen that, and we have seen some Karambit Warriors, but not much. The Karambit Warrior, of course, is the Malaysian, or the Malay, I should say, unique unit as well.
Yeah, and that's the only unit in Age of Empires 2 that costs only half a population, and it costs so few resources in general, only 10 gold apiece, and I believe 25 food. It is the quintessential swarming unit. And we saw it actually get some play, but the only unique unit we haven't seen so far is actually the Rattan Archer itself, which is an archer unit with a very, very high pierce armor. The thing with that unit, though, is it's a strong support unit in the Vietnamese army. It's very good in the right situation, but if your opponent does not have massed archer units, then it isn't incredibly strong in its own.
Yeah, the Karambit Warriors are a bit like Banelings, really.
Yeah.
If we were to make a StarCraft reference. Rattan Archer, though, like you say, yeah, I mean, very high pierce armor, a lot of health as well, which is kind of atypical for archers and makes them play very differently. But yeah, I mean, right now, we'll have a look at the actual game itself, how is it playing out. Nicov actually lost his scout there, which is not nice. And, you know, when you lose your scout, I don't know how... I don't know how much detail we should go into about kind of strategy and stuff and kind of the impact of losing a scout and things. I don't know what people are really expecting from our casting. But yeah, when you lose your scout that early, it gives you a big disadvantage to the fact that you can't find out anything else about your opponent until you start making some more military yourself. In this situation, Nicov knows where TaToh is, but he doesn't know any crucial targets. He doesn't know where his woodline is. He doesn't know where his berries are. He doesn't know where his gold is. So Nicov doesn't have the information that he would like to really make informed decisions about what to do next. As it turns out, TaToh's got a nice back gold. His woodline's not too bad either, because he can build or kind of build across this way to try and make a little choke point towards the TC. Nikov's playing without that information. TaToh, on the other hand, Scout's still alive. He's scouted the crucial spots: the wood camp, the berries, and the gold. And they're the three things that you're really looking for in the early game. And he's also seen that early barracks as well. So I guess TaToh will anticipate Nikov's maybe militia, or maybe a fast feudal into man-at-arms, which we're starting to see quite a lot more of in this tournament.
Yeah, this might actually be men-at-arms. He's putting down the mining camp right now, and he hasn't actually... He's holding the 10 gold in his villager, but he hasn't deposited it yet, and it looks like he will begin producing militia. Like you mentioned, Nicov playing in the dark, and in competitive Age of Empires 2, vision is everything. He has no idea where TaToh's weak spots are, for example. And when you're trying to pressure your opponent in the early game, you want to make sure that you're looking for those exterior villagers, ones far away from the town center. Things like lumber camps, gold mines, forage bushes, and Nicov has no idea where any of those are, and I think that will impact the strength of his men-at-arms rush.
Well, it certainly will, because Nicov doesn't actually know that TaToh has walled up. He's got no vision of this. And TaToh knows he's got that Nicov had an early barracks. He's fully anticipating this man-at-arms play, and he's countered it perfectly, because walls are a fantastic counter to man-at-arms and militia. So TaToh completely walled up, and he's going to be feeling very safe in this position. His map's actually looking really nice right now.
And of course, TaToh was able to do this because he had that information. He knew that that barracks was coming down. The Malays' men-at-arms rush is quite good because they advance the ages twice as fast, allowing them to get the men-at-arms upgrade sooner and apply some pressure. Is he even getting that men-at-arms upgrade, though? Looks like he's not.
Yeah, I mean, typically, I don't know if he's got like a read on this, maybe. Players can certainly have a little spidey sense that tingles about what to do when they've played so much and are so knowledgeable about the game. I think Nicov anticipates that TaToh will wall, but of course without scouting he doesn't know how wallable his map is. He doesn't know if he has done that, and I think he doesn't want to invest into man-at-arms before he can see, if there is a hole or if there's an opportunity. Otherwise it would just be wasted resources, and to be honest, it's the right decision, because as it turns out, yeah, I mean, he's got no reason to upgrade man-at-arms here. It is okay. I thought he was going to run straight into the TC there, but no.
Yeah, me too, but he backs out at just the right minute. TaToh did a really good job creating a funnel that just makes sure that Nikov's units have to walk underneath that town center, which he absolutely does not want to do. I think it's a really, really good play on the part of Nicov to actually not commit to men-at-arms yet, just to evaluate the situation, see how it is, and here is clearly not worthwhile. TaToh will be putting down 2 archer ranges, transitioning to archers of his own, and Nicov has a second range coming down his own base. Will he make skirmishers?
Well, he's actually gone straight to archers here, and with 6 villagers on gold, for those of you who don't know, but you need 7 villagers on gold in order to sustain archer production from 2 ranges, so it's likely that this villager will go to gold, or he'll send another one over, so it looks like it's going to be full archers from Nicov here, which is interesting, because the Malaysians are at a disadvantage in a straight-up archer war, since TaToh will have additional health on his archers as the Vietnamese.
Yeah, and that's why I asked about the skirmisher thing, because we feel like the Vietnamese as a civilization they're relatively predictable, because their bonus applies to archer range units, so we know that they're probably going to end up massing those archers in the early game. And if you want, you can go for preemptive skirmishers as a way to deal with that, but it looks like he's just going to try and fight this on even terms. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea, because those Vietnamese archers take 1 more hit to kill. With 33 HP, that can really turn the tides in any early game fight. So we'll have to see how this pays off, but TaToh has a really nice defense.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they are playing this in even terms, apart from the one advantage that TaToh has, which is the extra HP on his archers. But when it comes to economy, neither player has like a real eco bonus here. If I'm not mistaken, anyway, neither of them have an eco bonus. As a result, I mean, it only makes sense that TaToh should pull ahead here by making this mix of archers and skirms. But interestingly, I mean, TaToh's not even concerned about making archers here, which is even more interesting because in actual fact, the skirmishers also benefit, if I'm not mistaken, from the extra 10% HP. So his skirms are going to be additionally effective versus these archers from Nicov. And yeah, I'm really interested about this. The thing about the Malaysians, right, or the Malay, is that 2 of their bonuses affect fishing ships and fish traps. And there's no opportunity to dock here. There's no ponds or anything. So 2 of his bonuses, his civ bonuses, are basically wasted in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he could dock in these microscopic ponds. A man can dream. I don't think we'll be seeing it that much this game. The Vietnamese are just almost guaranteed to go mass archer range units, and skirmishers is an option for them because the skirmishers also benefit from that bonus. And I feel like that discourages you when you're playing against the Vietnamese even more from going for your own archers, knowing that skirmishers is just as good for them. And if they end up going for those, then your archers will just get decimated. So we'll have to see how this works out, because Nicov has made some really good plays so far, like delaying his men-at-arms upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, Nicov's a very intelligent player, and I think maybe he just goes straight into archers here because he doesn't want to have a slow castle time. He doesn't want to spend food on making, you know, when you do militia, you spend quite a bit of food in the early game, and that's food that you then don't end up spending on scouts instead. So, you know, he could have gone for a fast feudal into scouts, which arguably would have worked better. But, you know, it's also risky because he had no information about TaToh's map, and as it turns out, TaToh's playing a super defensive game. In reality, though, I feel like scouts would have worked really well for Nicov here, and he could have transitioned into archers off the back of that anyway. I feel like it would have benefited him to have an early advantage. For now, he's retreating back, but he is also walled up, and he has taken the time to basically completely wall his side of the map here, meaning that I think, looking at how many farms he's throwing down, Nicov is going to try for a fast castle age time.
And that's the thing that could help him claw his way back into this game and really gain an advantage, is the fact that he can get to the castle age twice as fast as TaToh can, especially if he clicks up much sooner, which looks to be his plan right about now. Both of these armies will miss each other. I'm not actually sure if they even saw each other right there. And thankfully, Nicov is walled up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. We said this about skirms before, right? The skirms they're great at defending, but as soon as it comes to pushing out and actually dealing some damage, yeah, they really lack. They're lackluster. They lack a lot. Currently, TaToh has the advantage in upgrades as well. He's spent 100 food to do the +1 defense, which means that if Nicov avoids doing that technology, again, that should increase his castle age time. Not to mention the fact that Nicov does advance to the castle age in half the time as well. So I actually think Nikov's in a good position, because if he does see a lot of skirms, he can go for a good castle time and just pump out a couple of knights and clean it up.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that Nicov, all he has to do is avoid these direct fights, which he's doing, prolong getting that padded archer armor, get to the castle age, and he's actually set up his economy in a way that he's getting there. He almost has 450 food in the bank, almost 200 gold. And as long as he just does not end up getting caught by this army of TaTohs on top of this hill, this could be a dicey engagement if it actually happens.
Yeah, and Nicov as well, he's just done wheelbarrow, so his farms are going to be working overtime, and he will have the food to click to the castle in a really respectable time here.
I think he's throwing away these militia here for free. I think he was just doing that to try and make TaToh take the bait, I guess, and sit back and not actually chase him down, but I don't think he needed to do that.
I honestly think it was fine, to be honest. I mean, the militia right now are no use to him anyway, and even if he ends up making some, like, two-handed swordsman later on or something, like, those 3 militia are really not going to matter. So, throwing them away and making TaToh sit here and fight them while he escapes with his archers, yeah, I think that's fair, and I guess as well it's one less sort of group of units to worry about as the game goes on. If you're pressing your idle military hotkey, you're just going to keep going to the militia, and it just gets annoying.
That it does. Now, in a shocking turn of events, actually, TaToh will be our first player up to the castle age. So he is he's not going to be, but he clicked up first.
Yeah.
This is the fun part of the Malay. The Malay will still get there first anyway. So Nicov will have that brief window of opportunity. And for him, this is going to be huge. He needs that crossman technology, that bodkin arrow, and hopefully that'll be enough to turn the tides, because when his opponent reaches the Castle Age, he's going to get additional HP in all of his units and get so much value out of that Elite Skirmisher and Crossman upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing right now, I mean, the thing that I take from this is that, okay, surprisingly, TaToh clicked to the Castle Age first. However, obviously, we know that the Malaysian player is going to reach the Castle Age first anyway because he's advancing twice as fast. But right now, Nicov has 10 population advantage, or thereabouts. He just had 10 population advantage, which means that he's got a larger army. And that's a really good position to be in at this stage. But still, I can't help but think, you know, all these archers, they're going to be up against TaToh very soon, who's going to be potentially having the Elite Skirmisher upgrade and 15% additional HP on top of that. It's so easily countered for TaToh, or by TaToh.
Yeah, as soon as the Elite Skirmisher or Crossman upgrade comes out, they're going to be walking around 41 HP. Which will make them very resilient against these archer attacks. Nicov researching Crossman right now, but he does not have enough resources to actually afford Bodkin Arrow, and he is missing padded archer armor as well. All TaToh needs to do is just sit in his hands, stall for time, wait till he gets to the Castle Age, and then he'll get a power spike of his own. But will he get caught here? Nicov has a military advantage.
Yep, and obviously without Bodkin Arrow, not Bodkin Arrow, without ballistics, these guys are incredible. Just a trail of arrows here as Nicov misses most of that, all those arrows there. He did, however, throw up a university straight away, and ballistics is like the first thing he's researching here. And that's exactly why. That trail of arrows in the ground and over here, that's basically exactly why he's doing this technology first. And TaToh's kind of cornered here. He's just going to go back and forth, and hope that that skirmisher upgrade comes in time, whilst Nicov still manages to miss half of his shots.
Look at the way that cliff is oriented. It actually kind of traps TaToh in there, and I don't think that he expected that. So really good engagement here from Nicov, just trying to clean up this army, which is not able to be reinforced. Yeah. TaToh did not have all of his military units there. Interesting to see that he's prioritizing ballistics over Bodkin Arrow, but he is going to be doing that. And Elite Skirmisher down for TaToh. They have 41 HP.
Yeah, it's a shame for TaToh that Elite Skirmisher upgrade just came at the worst time. Well, not the worst time, but, you know, it came too late. Nicov did clean that army up at the back before the upgrade came in, so it's kind of unfortunate for TaToh there, and certainly gives Nicov potentially a small edge right here. TaToh still has the +1 defense, though, and with the extra HP, yeah, I mean, this is really potent right now. TaToh could probably get a lot more value for a smaller number of units, potentially even cleaning up this army from Nicov right here. I mean, just look at these skirms go. They're tanking so much.
Yeah, they're really strong against crossmen that don't have enough upgrades, and he does not. No Bodkin Arrow means they're quite weak. No padded archer armor as well. Interesting to see that Nicov is really putting emphasis on grabbing this relic early, by the way.
Oh, this one at the back? Yeah, interesting. Because neither player is playing as the Burmese, so the relics aren't uncovered straight away. But I think we've seen in most games so far, it's kind of the late games, they've kind of come down to who controls the relics. One thing I would say, though, you said before that, you know, the crossbows haven't got Bodkin Arrow, but they have got ballistics. I mean, I would argue that it's better to hit your enemy for less damage than not hit them at all for more. Because the Bodkin Arrow upgrade's all well and good, but if you can't actually hit TaToh, I think ballistics does work out to be better. But in this situation right now, he should have Bodkin Arrow by this stage, and TaToh's doing so much work with these skirms. Look at them go.
They only take 1 damage a hit.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, the thing here is that it just allows him to get hit by a lot of free shots from a distance. But you're right, ballistics is a really powerful technology to emphasize in the early Castle Age. And right now, we're going to transition into that classic part, Age of Empires 2, where it's all about some good mangonel shots. And, well, Nicov's got the mangonel down. This will help him claw his way back into the game because it's not cost efficient for him to engage with his own crossmen. We see at the top side, his crossmen just getting slaughtered by such a small group of elite skirms.
I mean, what was that? 5 skirms versus about 12 crossbows, and the skirms will win this because, well, Nicov doesn't even care about this army, it seems. It's just kind of like, yep, I'm going to lose this, and I'm just going to accept that fate. But, yeah, the mangonels, yeah, this is really important for Nicov here.
So both players are on 3 town centers, so they're relatively even in the population department. TaToh does have his own university, so he's certainly thinking about the ballistics if he doesn't already have it. He has +2 defense in his elite skirmishers, so he's thinking about the bulk. Really wants to get as much value as possible out of the Vietnamese extra HP and really just make them impervious to archer fire, which is what they feel like right now.
Even mangonel fire, to be honest. Just to briefly interrupt you there, I mean, like 6 pierce armor, 41 HP. Well, Mangonel does 40 damage, which means that with the pierce armor reduced, it does 30. Sorry, was it 6 pierce armor? Yeah, so it does 34 damage, but they have 41 HP, so they can tank at a Mangonel shot. I mean, sadly, they don't do much damage versus Mangonels either, but I still feel like this is a really good position for TaToh, and especially now that he's adding in Knights as well.
Oh, you're absolutely correct. The thing about Mangonel shots is it usually catches people by surprise. And getting a value Mangonel shot here isn't going to matter nearly as much as they're just going to live that blast. Right now we see a Mangonel moving forward from TaToh. Will he get a 2 for 1? He gets a 1 for nothing. And, oh, God.
Oh, that's great.
Is that shot going to kill the crossbows?
TaToh's going to have
nice. He kills his own knight, but it was absolutely worth it. That's a really, really good exchange for TaToh, trading 2 Mangonels for 1. Now there's a Mangonel coming in again from Nicov. He has the hill advantage, which might be enough to actually kill those elite skirms if he can hit them.
Yeah, I kind of couldn't help but laugh a little bit at the knight being killed by his own unit there. A little bit of friendly fire, as is always the case with the Mangonels. But yeah, it wasn't a bad trade for TaToh at all. And right now, I think both players are just playing this kind of like... Their units cost a lot, like Mangonels are expensive, but you don't have many of them. And so the military counts for both players is relatively low at this stage, and they're really just focusing on booming their economies. Look at this, TaToh with a really big eco back here, and well, Nicov the same. I'd say both players really, really investing a lot into their economy at this stage.
That they are, both going for the long game, especially Nicov. Really wants those relics, but he did end up losing a monk that he was just trying to grab a relic on the top side of the map with.
Oh, I missed that.
Nicov has set himself up so he's almost able to get to the Imperial Age, and he will be able to get there lightning fast. And he's doing this, you know, we can tell he doesn't even have Bodkin arrow. He just does not want to commit to this Castle Age fight. He knows it doesn't favor him. And once he gets to the Imperial Age, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he makes. Market coming down, he is so close.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, this is awesome. I mean, Nikov's, this is a great Imperial time. He's just clicked up to Imperial, and he still has, well, he still had 600 food in the bank there. But the Malaysians, once they get Imperial, what are we expecting to see? Right now, archery range is coming up, and I mean, they don't get hand cannons or anything like that. They don't get heavy cavalry archers, so I'm guessing he's going down the route of Arbalest if he's throwing up more archery ranges here.
Yeah, I'm going to guess Arbalest, and then maybe he's going to mix in some elite skirmishers. We'll have to see. He was delaying, of course, some of his upgrades because he just wanted to stockpile food and gold to advance to the Imperial Age. But it looks like he's grabbing Thumb Ring now, which definitely shows us he does want to commit to this. Will he get these blacksmith upgrades? He's got the Mangonels. This is really good imp time. He's actually almost there. 70%.
Yeah, I mean, this is so fast. It just goes so quickly. Half the time to upgrade. But, yeah, I'm really interested. Again, though, it's going down this archer line. And TaToh does counter that very well. Nicov still hasn't done Bodkin arrow, which is confusing. But, okay, he's trying to save the gold, I assume, so that he can do Arbalest instead as soon as he hits Imp. But, yeah, I mean, TaToh's going to defend with Skirms and Mangonels, and that's not bad, to be honest. I think TaToh won't be too far from Imperial himself, but he's certainly a lot slower. And this could be a little scary for TaToh now. I mean, when your opponent is that fast to Imp, you kind of do ask yourself a little question or two, especially when they've been matching you in army production.
Yeah, it just goes to show that Nicov has been playing this quite well, and now TaToh in a little bit of a panic is putting down that market, which is, of course, the way to get yourself to the Imperial Age when you need to. So he's going to try and use that to adjust his economy because he actually cannot afford to do it yet. Nicov has to be really careful here. There's a hill with 3 Mangonels and a ton of elite skirms. Oh my god, that Mangonel will live and not kill.
I'm a little bit behind you, I think. I'm a little bit behind you.
All right, I'll slow down slightly.
Okay.
Right now, there's a huge battle going on in this hill in front of their base.
Oh, that was a great 2 for 1 for Nicov there. Nicov in a great position now, and I think he'll get cleaned up with his Mangonels. With the Arbalest, he's going back. He doesn't want to fight uphill against Skirms. But, yeah, I mean, TaToh using his market a little here. He will be up to the Imperial Age, or clicking up to the Imperial Age in a moment. He still has 2 Mangonels inside this Siege Workshop, though. So, TaToh really making a lot of Mangonels here, but also very, very close to being able to afford a castle. Nicov also very close to being able to afford a castle here. And I hope we do see some unique units from both of the players. I feel like the Karambit Warrior will work very well versus the Rattan Archer because although it has high HP, it's mostly got Pierce Armor, right? So it's going to die fairly quickly to fast melee units.
Also, the Karambit Warrior has respectable Pierce armor. It's not good, but it's good for the value that you get. It has 2 Pierce armor. The Rattan Archer is really only good versus other archers, and then maybe weaker infantry. It should kind of eat the Karambits, but the Karambits have the swarm potential. We'll have to see. Rattan Archers can be kind of slow. And, well, those Mangonels, that's a pretty good Mangonel shot for him.
Oh,
Nicov has to be careful with this fight.
Wow, Mangonels,
Am I still ahead of you?
Yeah, I see the Mangonel shot now. That was great, actually. And whoa, another one as well. Jeez, look at this. Nicov just lost his whole army. What on
just
earth
disintegrated.
Oh, jeez, what is he doing? Oh, man, what a great hold from TaToh there. I mean, I wouldn't say that was even great from TaToh, although, yes, he did clean it up. I think it was just dumb from Nicov. Like, oh, I know, let's just attack uphill versus 4 Mangonels and a bunch of skirms with only Arbalest. That was not the fight he was looking for, but at least he gets the information that there's a castle on this hill, and with his own castle coming up and being in the Imperial Age first, I expect we'll see a trebuchet coming straight out for him. The question is, will he be able to defend it? I think so. We'll see, we'll see. I think a treb should come out first. Oh, he's doing conscription. Interesting. I guess he's going to be playing more defensively then.
Yeah, that fight was a bit ill-advised, as the advantage was just for TaToh there in terms of units. There was a hill, 4 Mangonels, straight counter units, and it looks like TaToh will be massing up as many elite skirmishers as he can, which are going to be so very strong. I think this is going to be the game where we see Imperial skirmishers coming down. Oh,
yeah, we haven't seen them yet. Of course, that's the Vietnamese unique team bonus. They can upgrade to elite skirmisher, which, well, it's yet to be seen if that's going to be overpowered. Everyone seems to think that elite skirmishers are going to be ridiculously OP. Time will tell. But right now, I feel like Nikov's going to be playing a little more defensively here. I don't know if continuing to create Arbalest is such a great plan. I feel like he needs to switch it up a little bit and, you know, potentially try something else right now.
Completely agreed. I feel like this is just something that really favors the Vietnamese because they have so many bonuses for it. If we're talking about the Imperial Skirmisher, it actually is not a significant improvement at all over the Elite Skirmisher. It has 5 more HP, 1 extra attack, and it deals 1 extra damage to archer units. So it's really small. But the thing is when you're the Vietnamese, 5 extra HP is kind of nice because then they have 47 HP on their Imperial Skirmishers.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, no, it's like 42 or something like that. We had to change that a little bit. Their Imperial Skirmishers, yeah, I think it's 42. That's pretty good for a unit that doesn't cost gold.
Not bad. I just want to point something out real quick. TaToh earlier on, we saw it on the stream. He sent a monk up here to grab the relic. Meanwhile, Nicov was building a monastery next to it. And TaToh went over there with his scout, and Nicov kills TaToh's scout with his villager, and now he's just standing there next to his monastery like, well, what do I do now? The relic's gone. He's doing a similar thing down here as well, trying to get this relic.
And he's going to get this one, though, so it's okay.
Yeah, he will be successful. I just thought that was quite amusing. Nicov actually is switching things up a little. He's making more skirms, and he's actually going for the Karambit Warrior right now. He's going for the Zergling rush, that's for sure.
That he is. And I think this will work really well, at least against the trash units. Rattan Archers, they have enough of an attack stat that they would still be able to beat the Karambit Warriors. Not cost efficiently, but they should be able to beat them. However, these elite or Imperial skirmishers will just not be able to do it. And I think it is actually 47 or 48 HP on them.
Well, they've got 43.
Karambit Warriors, they're engaging. Oh, yeah, but he doesn't have Imperial skirm yet.
Yeah, they've got 43 right now. I'm guessing that...
Why is it always different?
Oh my god, these Mangonels, they're doing work.
There was this weird thing where the bonus wasn't calculated correctly, so I get the HP values on them mixed up all the time. There were times where the cavalry archers had 99 HP, and then they had 97, 93, so I guess it's 43 now. Okay.
It happens. So, TaToh nearly killed his own trebs. Thankfully, the Onager upgrade happened after he shot. I think he only had Mangonels when he was defending, so he didn't kill his own trebs because the Onager upgrade came in afterwards, which is kind of amusing as well. But look at this castle dropping. Wow. And this is why I thought that Nicov would make the treb first. He clearly saw that there was a castle here from TaToh. I guess he maybe felt a little comfortable because he was Imperial so much faster. But there you go. The castle's going to go down. He's out of stone. GG Castle, and goodbye Karambit Warriors. There's going to be no more of them.
And I don't know what his game plan is after this. Losing that castle will be quite bad for him. Imperial Skirmisher down. Not a substantial upgrade, but one that really matters here.
So the HP didn't improve.
Yeah. So they have the same HP. I just get that mixed up because They had like 47 and like 49 at one point, but it just wasn't being calculated correctly.
Okay.
So it's
So-
supposed to actually be 43.
Okay, so the Imperial Skirmisher has the same HP as an Elite Skirmisher, only it gets an additional attack, I think, and it gets additional pierce
One
armor
attack,
as well.
one attack, one armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it is. Is one attack, one armor, and one bonus attack versus archer units, yes.
Okay, well that's pretty cool. TaToh right now, though, pushing forwards with these onagers. This is looking nice. Of course, Nicov does have these bombard cannons, which are a great counter to onagers, actually, and should be able to defend his hill quite successfully with them. On this left-hand side, he is actually building another castle. He's going back into those elite Karambit warriors, and look how many resources Nicov has. He's got so much. He just needs to spend them, and I think that's his biggest problem right now, actually spending his resources.
Holy cow, he is rich, and he is prepared to raid every point on the map like the Malay love to do. He's got 2 barracks on the top side, a castle on the bottom with the siege workshop. He's getting ready to do some swarming, and it's actually going to be kind of difficult.
It's kind of funny because he set the gather point. Do you see those 3 dead bodies to the right of the castle in the south? Like, he sets gather point there, and they immediately died to the castle of TaToh, like 3 times in a row. So he did attempt to swarm, but then he just got shut down one at a time by this castle on the hill here. TaToh actually moving a lot of his army down here, anticipating that this is where Nicov will push from. And he's probably right. Nicov here, getting ready to go, but he's got well, he doesn't really have a whole lot here, actually. It's TaToh with the army advantage right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Indeed, and 2 trebuchets being deployed. Now we've seen every single unique unit added in the Rise of the Rajas expansion, so this is really cool. You can see the Rattan Archer again, decent in its own right, kind of expensive, very good against other archer units. The Imperial Skirms just getting a lot of value here. These trebuchets, well, should be able to defeat that castle, but Malay bombard cannons have really been carrying them this game. The fact that they actually have that has allowed him to actually defend himself, and now he's pushing down the middle, while TaToh is pushing on the bottom.
Yeah, this is a shame for Nicov. I mean, if he loses this castle, it's bad news. And you can see he's really trying to keep it alive here. He's repairing it with a lot of villagers. But I don't see how he's possibly going to be able to defend this unless he suddenly has like 20, 40, 80 Karambit warriors. I don't know. He's going to need a lot to get the surround on these skirms and actually shut this one down. But you're right, he is pushing in the middle, and it looks like it's just going to be a castle trade because these bombard cannons are going to town on the castle of TaToh at the front here.
One thing he has to be careful of is if Nicov doesn't have a defensive castle in his own base, that once he loses this one, he's not going to have access to Karambit warriors anymore. And this castle, like you said, is inevitably going to go down, so he's just pumping out as many of them as he can. Look how fast they spawn. They do get max infantry upgrades. And wow, these bombard cannons with siege engineers just tearing right through the middle of the map.
Oh, it's doing good work. It's doing really good work. And look at that. TaToh's having to bring his Rattan Archers and Elite Imperial Skirmishers over here. The Rattan Archers, by the way, look at that. Elite now, 40 HP, 10 Pierce Armor, 10 Pierce Armor, and a total of 11 attack as well. I think even Rattan Archers would fare well against these Elite Skirms from Nicov here.
Oh, that they absolutely do. They do, however, get positively destroyed by any sort of infantry unit with high pierce armor or any sort of heavy cavalry of any description, but there aren't any of those in the game. This is the situation where the Vietnamese really excel against your opponent's army of mass range units and they're just really cheap, weak infantry units. So this could be potentially really good for TaToh as he's moving in, camping on that hill, but he still has to deal with these siege weapons.
Yeah, I mean, right now the siege is a problem for him, and I think as well, actually, these Karambit warriors are being pretty effective, to be honest. They're really disrupting these skirmishers, and ooh, nice onager shot from Nicov.
Oh, wow.
There. He has actually done the upgrade as well, so really good for him. This siege working wonders, but at the same time, he did lose his castle in the south, and that basically ends his push there, while TaToh still has 2 castles up, and he's building more Rattan Archers. These are looking really good.
And that it is. This is just the situation that the Vietnamese was born for. And the Malay also really just getting to showcase their own strengths here. The thing, though, that's really screwing them, like I said, is those bombard cannons. That's what really like holds the Malay together as a civilization, is they get bombard cannons, they get bombard towers and siege engineers. Without that, it'd be very difficult for him to engage on the Vietnamese, even though this would normally be a good situation for them. Now TaToh has to back up his army and needs to come up with an answer to those bombard cannons. And onagers.
I mean, I'm a little concerned for TaToh right now, to be honest. I mean, these Karambit warriors are doing work, to say the least. And, I mean, right now, I would say that Nicov should be able to take more map control. But right now we see TaToh on the sort of middle south of the map taking the gold here next to his castles. So yeah, I mean, interesting stuff. But I think right here, Nicov will gain this hill, and it's going to be good.
Did you get that lag spike there for
Yeah,
some reason
I've
in the
got a
replay?
I've got a weird lag in the replay.
What?
It's got all jittery, but I think it's going to be fine because they just completed the game normally. One thing that's kind of hilarious is down to the southwest, there's an archer from TaToh here. Just and Nikov's surrounding it with villagers. Like, just die already, please get out of
It's
here.
so tanky. It's got +3 defense, and okay, so do you recorded games like record lag now?
Well,
that's pretty absurd. Regardless,
yeah.
the rattan archers moving in, they're going to do so much damage to this economy. Taking a little bit of a gamble here because he doesn't have that much to defend himself at home. Like you said, the Karambit Warriors, they've been a real nuisance, but it's this economy on the bottom side that could allow TaToh to claw his way back in the game. Look at him kill all of those villagers.
Whoa, that's going to be a lot of dead vills. Oh, they're saying that the TC does go up, so Nicov can garrison inside, though he doesn't seem to have noticed, and that's bad news. There you go. The villagers jumping into the TC here, but yeah, I mean, that's a lot of dead vills, but at the same time, Nicov is pushing in to the front of TaToh's base here, killing a lot of villagers for himself. So, with a defensive castle, TaToh shouldn't be too concerned, but still, there's a lot of vills going down on the front that he hasn't retreated back yet. And once again, one of those kind of base race situations, TaToh denying a lot of economy to Nicov here, and Nicov, look at these two-handed swordsmen coming back out, jeez.
This is a weird situation. We're seeing a base race where rattan archers are being used as raiding units. The Karambit Warriors, though, this feels a little bit more natural. And boy, are they a pain to deal with when you don't have any static defenses anymore. They're just so cheap and they kill villagers quite efficiently. Rattan archers are actually okay raiding units because they don't take like any damage at all from the town centers. And right now, both players with very weak economies, but I have to say that the Malay, their two-handed swordsman, cost no gold with forced levy. That sounds pretty good if you're Nicov.
Yep, Nicov going back into the two-handed swordsman. It's a great unit choice right here, as we've seen TaToh doing quite a lot of these rattan archers, and also quite a lot of Imperial skirmishers. So with these two-handed swordsmen, he's hoping that he can potentially do some damage to those archer units. His Karambit warriors have actually been a little underwhelming, to be honest. I mean, they're like a more extreme version of the Shotel warrior.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I mean, the Shotel warriors were ridiculous, though. I mean, they would just run in with like 20 and just destroy a TC in about 5 seconds flat. These guys actually do die to the TCs pretty quickly. So, yeah, I mean, the Karambit warriors haven't done a huge amount here, but they're still in there. They're still trying to do something. And yeah, Nicov here switching into the two hands. I like that. And you know what? I'm so happy that they get this forced levy tech, but they don't get champion. Because two-handed swordsman is one of my favorite unit models in the game. They just look so cool. I would actually not upgrade to champion when I was younger because I just like two-handed swordsman. I thought they looked so much better. So now he has a reason to keep making two-handed swordsman. It's cool.
Oh, yeah. I think that it has a really cool unit model. And one of the cool things about this particular match is that we get to see the two Trash King civilizations fight each other, and they have very different strengths. So Imperial Skirmishers with 43 HP, that is quite nice to have. However, two-handed swordsmen that don't cost any gold is also an excellent bonus to have. And we get to watch these two duke it out, and we get to see which of these bonuses actually ends up mattering the most. Although I do really like the two-handed swordsman with no gold cost.
Yeah, what I find interesting right now is that Nicov was at 200 out of 200 population, right? But he had a bunch of Karambit warriors, which means his total population, it's kind of like the Goths, where they can have an extra 10. Only with the Karambit warriors, you kind of decide how much extra population room you want, just by making a few more of those units.
Indeed. It's very interesting playing with a unit that only costs half a population slot and is so cheap like that. It really changes the way that you look at the game. Both sides taking full advantage of the bombard cannons as siege engineers. I think those are really important on the defense here. Everyone grabbing all of their upgrades. And we're in kind of a stalemate situation, but I feel like Nicov just has so much more map control.
He does, but he still hasn't got full control of these gold piles in the center of the map. I think now is a great time to check how many relics they both have. We can have a look at Nicov. It looks like he's got just the one relic, unless I'm mistaken. He's got... Yeah, one relic. It's one relic for Nicov. And TaToh currently has 3 relics. So we've seen so far, once the game gets to about the hour mark, and these gold piles start dwindling, that's when the relics really become valuable. And at the moment, it seems to me like Nicov will be able to grab this relic here, making it 3 relics to 2, which isn't a very big difference at all. And that means we're probably going to see a longer stalemate game.
Sounds good to me. We know that Nicov put a lot of emphasis on grabbing those relics early on because he's seen how they have won many games in the series. He tried to grab his first relic really early and then his second, and now he's going to be securing his third one. His relics aren't necessarily safe because they are kind of stockpiled in the middle, but he should be fine. Nicov actually put a bunch of military buildings on the top side of the map a lot earlier on in the game, and here, this is when they're really going to start paying dividends because look who just set up shop right next to them.
Oh yeah, it's TaToh with a TC. So he gets the scouting info and he has the buildings there ready to just make some units right now. Nikov's in a good position. He's got 2.7 or 2.8k food, and with forced levy, obviously his two-handed swordsman cost no gold, so that's a really nice position for him to be in. TaToh, on the other hand, right now his resources are a lot less, and he's also at a lot less population as well. He's struggling to get up to 200 population here, and with that said, I mean, I'm surprised really he's not taking the gold in the middle of the map. His gold's not looking too great, and he certainly could take this gold thanks to these castles defending them.
That's a very good point, and the fact that neither player has really prioritized these 2 piles of gold is kind of mystifying, really. I feel like securing those is going to. I thought that would be the pivotal point of the game, except it turns out that's not the case. Right now, TaToh will be able to corner some elite skirmishers, but they're really not worth that much. He's going to have to deal with the middle of the map. As the line slowly moving forward, these bombard cannons will get picked off. TaToh is in an interesting position as he could potentially box this army in, but he just doesn't have enough military units right now.
Yeah, for sure. How much are these Rattan archers, by the way? How much are they actually costing? Could you maybe find out or check?
I'm going to do it off memory, and I'm going to double check it. I believe they cost 50 wood and 45 gold, and I will verify this right now.
Okay, so 50 wood, 45 gold.
Okay, that's correct, yeah.
Yeah, 45 gold is the same as an archer, and the wood, a standard archer. And the wood cost is, it's a lot higher. So, I mean, these guys aren't that costly on the gold for what they are. I think that's very reasonable. But interestingly enough, I think they have less HP than a Vietnamese. Do they get Arbalest? Yeah, I think they'd have less HP.
Oh, they do actually have less HP than an Arbalest. Yes, they do. Yeah. Arbalests, I believe, walk around with 48.
Yeah, so it's like an 8 HP difference, which is actually a huge amount when you look at that as a percentage of their HP. It's nearly a quarter more HP for the Arbalest. It's thereabouts. So that could make a huge difference. Right now, Nicov on this hill with the skirms, taking an onager shot, but ultimately winning this fight because, well, he's got the hill advantage.
And wow, we see the hill advantage here is actually better than Rattan archers and better than Imperial skirmishers. Can't believe he's coming out on top. This is the Vietnamese in their natural habitat, and yet it's not quite working out as TaToh thought it would. This is exactly the situation they love to be in, fighting an opponent that is just almost nothing but massed ranged units in which they counter, and yet he's not really able to close this one out, having a little bit of difficulty dealing with the Karambit warriors, the siege weapons, and now just having difficulty securing map control.
At the south of the map, TaToh making another play, moving his trebs forward. In come the two-handed swordsman, though. They will get cleaned up by the Rattan archers, and TaToh once again killing another one of his trebs with his onager. But
oh, it did die.
Did it once more. Just that friendly fire, always causing trouble. Yeah, Nicov, meanwhile, at the top, trying to clean out that town center. I think he'll be successful there. He will kill a lot of villagers as well, since he has the two-handed swordsman. But look at TaToh's economy. I mean, this whole section of his economy in the very south of the map, didn't exist 5 minutes ago. I don't think.
It did not. I really feel like elephant archers would be quite good against either player's army. It's just neither of them actually have the gold to do it. So the only thing they could make today better is if I could see some of them. But they just can't afford it. And right now, both of these civs has a lot of really solid late game options for not spending gold, and they're just saving it on just for their siege weapons. The middle of the map is kind of going in favor of TaToh, but he is being raided all over the place, and the bottom side of the map is kind of close.
Yeah, I actually feel like the battle elephants, as much as we really want to see them, it's like paladins, making paladins in 1v1. You just don't see it very often because they're so expensive. I feel like you're much more likely to see those in team games, and it makes a lot of sense, and they can actually be really potent in team games as well.
That they can be. Basically, the Vietnamese just have a lot of potential as a strong support civilization in team games because of all their technologies, bonuses, and things like strong, bulky battle elephants. But without the luxury of having a trade line and without other civs in your team to balance out your weaknesses, then, well, battle elephants can be kind of a risk. I wouldn't really expect to see them outside of maybe the Malay rushing them in some situations, but in the later stages, they're just such a big investment.
Oh, exactly. I completely agree to that. And, I think that's the thing. In a 1v1, it's just such a different story to a team game. And right now, there's no way that Nicov could afford the battle elephants. But I do genuinely think they would be a worthwhile thing to consider. They are only costing him 56 gold per elephant, which means that they are viable right now. But maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say.
But one thing I've learned after playing a lot of the Malay is that your elite battle elephants in the Imperial Age just disintegrate. It feels like they're made of cardboard.
Really?
Against any sort of mass ranged unit, they just, they melt to any sort of castles or anything. And that's just because they're missing all of the defense upgrades. And that's something that really caught me off guard, is they are not good at all against really, really heavy rapid fire ranged units. I think the Vietnamese in this case, though, since they have super bulky ones, would be a better idea. But that's something, that caught me off guard with the Malay ones.
Yeah, so we'll have a quick look at the Malay tech tree here. The Malay battle elephants are going to be missing +2 and +4 defense. So yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense. So actually, I take that back. Doesn't make sense for Nicov to make battle elephants, even if they are cheap, because they will just die to mashed ranged units, just due to the fact they miss a lot of the defense upgrades. TaToh here, though, look, he's building more forward castles on this left side. I think he really wants this gold, but he's still not taking it. So not exactly sure what is going on there. Meanwhile, he's trying to raid with some Imperial skirmishers right at the top. And we've also got a little battle going on in the center of the map as well. I struggle managing to fight one battle at a time. How do they manage to do 3 at once?
Oh, it's really crazy, and it takes an absurd amount of practice. These players really know how to control the game. I think it's really funny that TaToh has actually put so much in trying to control these gold mines, but it's really not about using them. It's about sending a message that these are my gold mines and I don't need them to win, but you can't have them.
Exactly. Right now...
So cap rams. See the cap rams distracting the archers at the top?
No, but now I do. And
he's just focused firing them. Yeah, the siege workshop gets to come down as a result, and here come a bunch of units which will indeed box in those Imperial skirmishers. We're at a stalemate. This is a long, very close game, but TaToh's got the trebuchets, and this reminds me of the game that we were watching earlier today. Not much siege left for Nicov, so that means that TaToh gets free reign of poking all these buildings during a stalemate from a safe distance, slowly, steadily gaining more land.
Yeah, you're right, but the problem is, in order to use the trebs effectively, he has to protect them, which means he needs to put a decent amount of army there, or, if he moves away from his castle, they're going to be unprotected. So that means that as TaToh pushes in one area, Nicov can push back in another. And I think that's what we're going to see in this game. But I feel like right now, Nicov actually has a much smaller army. Looking at TaToh, we see he's got 68 ranged units right now. Nicov, on the other hand, has just 41, with 17 infantry as well. Whereas TaToh has, a lot more, and I guess no infantry, but he has still got a decent amount of siege.
Nicov trying to do a little bit of raiding with a few of these Karambit warriors, but those will get cleaned up quite nicely. He's moving on the top side, trying to zone Nicov off that one pile of gold, and TaToh is actually taking that middle gold now. I think that will be short-lived, though. Those elite skirmishers will probably kill it on the other side. TaToh inching the line forward. Can he hold the line here? Because you're right, he has to protect those trebuchets.
Yeah, actually interesting. I totally didn't realize this before, but the north side of this cliff is actually controlled by Nicov, and it has been for most of the game. Yeah. So I'm looking at this castle, and I'm like, that castle protects that gold. Why isn't he not taking the gold? That's why. The skirmishers on the hill, and they can just kill them from above. Death from above. Nobody likes that. TaToh, though, trying to raid up here with his Imperial skirms. This is exactly where the two-handed swordsmen come into their own, really. This is just perfect for them. And those Imperial skirmishers will get chewed up and spat back out, or I guess just killed. TaToh, at the south of the map, still making some progress over here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. One player pushes in one direction, the other player pushes in the opposite. And even this castle coming under fire from these capped rams now from Nicov. TaToh, they're actually adding in some light cavalry.
However, if we remember the previous game from the day, which had a very similar situation to this, actually several of them, which is when both players are doing a base race and pushing on opposite sides of the map, the player that is pushing closer to their opponent's main economy is usually the one that comes out on top, and that means that Nicov is the one that is really threatening TaToh's home economy. He's pushing through on the top side, whereas TaToh has to claw his way through so many military buildings to actually get to those farmers.
Yeah, that's true. Would you just look at those lumber camps as well? Talk about replenishment. Like, that's a lot of replenished lumber camps right there. Oh, man. How many is it? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, is that 10? 3, 6. Oh, it's 9. I can't count. But yeah, 9 lumber camps right there. Nicov needs some serious wood. And yeah, I mean, wood is one of those things that does start running out as the game goes on. This wood on the far left for Nicov been raided. His main woods are all gone, though.
That they are. It's going to be very difficult for both of these players to actually secure a safe wood line. TaToh actually defending himself on the top side of the map. Those Caparams will have to back up. They do not have enough support. And in fact, Nicov now mixing in some pikemen into his army to deal with those light cav. I think that is the smart choice. So now both players shifting their attention more towards the middle. Nicov has a hill, but TaToh also has some onagers.
Yeah, I mean, this is where onagers are going to be super potent. I mean, 51 damage versus all of this. I mean, that basically kills nearly everything with 2 of them. So Nicov better be careful here, because we could see a couple of really nice onager shots. Of course, if he goes too far forward, he will just run directly into that castle, and then his onagers will die. So Nicov is backing up to make sure his castle here is doing some work as well. You can never forget just how much damage these castles will put out over time.
Absolutely, especially against these trash units, which just do not have that good survivability. Apparently someone just subscribed to me on Twitch, so thank you, Vector Pirate. Right now, Nicov moving in. He's got a ton of elite skirmishers. This does mean he has to leave that hill, but he is focus firing down those onagers. That's what Karambit Warriors were made for, and now Nicov on the counterattack. Oh, this is absolutely excellent for him. It's those onagers that he really had to worry about as a way to deter those elite skirms.
Oh yeah, I mean, that was actually a great play by Nicov there. Really getting good value to take down the onagers, and that kind of allows him to push. He still has to worry about the capped rams, but now the onagers are gone. Well, I guess there's one more coming in, but now he thinks they're gone. He can continue adding some more two-handed swordsmen. And yeah, I mean, this is really turning into a stalemate. Up at the north of the map, TaToh trying to raid, but he's running into Haubs, so that's not going to be too successful. And Nicov here actually winning the middle as TaToh retreats once more.
And Nicov also winning on the top side. He has Halberdier researched. He's got these two-handed swordsmen. It's time for some late-game Malay trash to take on those Imperial Skirms. TaToh has to back up. The Imperial Skirms have been great. It's just he's really struggling versus all the wide variety of units that the Malay have to offer. Karambit Warriors especially just pick off those siege weapons. We've seen some great play from Nicov this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing with the Karambit Warrior as well. The Karambit Warrior and the two-handed swordsman do serve very different purposes. The Karambit Warrior, it's fast. It's used to take down siege. Whereas the two-handed swordsman, it's slower, but it has more HP, it has more survivability, and it's just perfect at tanking Imperial skirmishers and eventually chewing them up and killing them.
Now, speaking of chewing things up, Nicov will finally lose one of his relics that he's worked so hard for this game in the middle of the map. He is about to lose that monastery, which will be a small blow, but I'm sure he'll be able to either secure that back, or maybe TaToh will commit a lot of military units to try and pull that one. Well, both players doing so much obnoxious raiding. Huh?
Sorry, yeah, I was going to say, actually, that's actually a really good thing for TaToh there. If he can actually control that relic, he will be able to secure it. And if he gets another relic, that'll put him up to 4, which means 4 relics versus 1. Big advantage for TaToh there in terms of gold. But oftentimes, it's not even gold that becomes the biggest problem. As the game goes super late, it becomes wood and food that become the problem, as you just can't control wood lines for long enough. And there's just a huge fight to grab that wood.
And there's only... There's only a finite amount of wood on Arabia, and both players desperately trying to secure their own pile to grab. TaToh has the hill advantage here.
There certainly is a finite amount of wood for grabbing.
That there is. You're mainly optimistic as well. TaToh has the hill advantage here, so this seems suicidal for Nicov, but he has so many military units, and those two-handed swordsmen, they beat trash units, and now TaToh has to retreat off that hill. His trebuchets might not be able to escape this fight.
Man, these traps have been alive since like 40 minutes, and now they're finally gonna go down. Is this how it all ends? Nicov getting oh, wow, okay.
Body blocked HD padding.
I mean, come on. Surely he can kill one of them, right? No? No? He's gonna keep all of his trebs alive?
That's some serious value. And look, he's baiting all of Nikov's units in here, which normally I would say is a pretty big waste of gold on those two-handed swordsmen, but...
Okay, he got two. He got two. Whoa.
There we go. Yeah, he got him.
That's a big deal. I mean, that's 200 gold apiece. It's not cheap to replenish those trebs, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, at this stage in the game, 200 gold is really difficult to come by, especially considering that the only gold mine remaining on the map is an almost impossible to mine situation with that hill on the top.
And this is basically where all of the fighting is going on as well. So I still think that TaToh should send villagers there anyway, and he will automatically, well, those vills will automatically go over there themselves. So yeah, I mean, TaToh has actually got a decent amount of gold here. He's 200 population as well. Nicov on 173. No gold to speak of whatsoever. But fortunately for him, he doesn't really need gold that much since he's got the two-handed swordsman. But, you know, ultimately, I think as Barbecue Titan would say, gold is king.
That it is. And wood is about to be king soon, as there's only a finite amount of it left. There are two really nice sizable forests for Nicov in the top and the bottom side of his base, but it's going to force these players into the middle of the map, which is just coated in castles. So over time, it is going to boil down to that. TaToh also has some pretty solid wood lines, and he has just a huge army of military units in the middle of the map on an absolutely massive hill. It's going to be difficult to dislodge him without some onager shots.
TaToh has a clear military advantage here in terms of numbers, but they're not really being very productive. It's all well and good having all this military, but if they spend all their time attacking an archery range, that's really no good, is it? I mean, he needs to push his advantage, and right now he's just holding the middle of the map and attacking these, well, eco buildings and these ranges. I mean, it's slow progress. TaToh needs to bring the siege in, and he's only got one treb left. So, well, it's going to be a slow, steady siege for TaToh here.
If Cision's still watching this, we've yet to make a civilization that has elite skirmishers plus 15 attack versus buildings, but if you're still listening, then that would be useful in this situation. Big battle going on in the middle of the map.
Suicide for Nicov.
Yeah, really, just TaToh has a huge army here, and he has the hill. This seems like a ill-advised engage.
Well, this isn't the first time that Nikov's had a bad fight on this hill. If we cast our minds back 700 years ago to 20 minutes of game time, Nicov actually, or more like 30, I guess, Nicov actually lost like 40, okay, I'm exaggerating, like maybe 25 to 30 arbalest at the bottom of this hill. Yeah, and that's exactly the same place where Nicov had those catastrophic losses, and once again, this hill proving to be a good thing for TaToh to hold on to here.
Yeah, this hill just has been devastating this entire game. TaToh has reached critical mass of Imperial skirmishers, which is what I was talking about, is just how strong they are in the late game when you get so many of them massed up. But now Nicov is tired of fighting on this hill. He knows that it's not going to work out, so instead he's opting to do some serious raiding with two-handed swordsmen near the bottom of TaToh's own base, and he should be able to at least kill some villagers and delay this lumber camp for some time.
Yeah, absolutely, and I see now that TaToh is actually adding in some more trebs in the middle, so I think he wants to clean out the archery ranges and then go for the castle. Castle's not going to be used really at this stage for making more units because Nicov can't really afford to, but it will be used to slow down TaToh's push, I guess. But right now, I mean, Nicov is just flooding the two-handed swordsman, and he's completely taken over the south side of the map. I wonder if he's going to be able to keep pushing through, or if these castles will put a quick end to that.
So the Conquerors says that he doesn't know much about this game and that he's new to it. So he's wondering who's winning and playing better. Well, I'd say that both of these players, both TaToh and Nicov, have been playing this game incredibly well. And right now, it's neck and neck. If we take a look at the minimap, things are very close. TaToh has this hill, which really gives him a big advantage because his units on this hill deal 25% more damage and take 25% less, which is quite solid. He has a huge army of ranged units. Nicov needs this hill, and he's slowly pushing TaToh back off this. If he can, that's going to put him in an excellent position.
He's just flooding the units in here, and he doesn't even care how many he loses at this stage. He just needs the hill to push this one back. But you can clearly draw a line, like a horizontal line across the map. And basically, yeah, I'd say it's 50-50 right now. It's incredibly close, and it could still go either way. It's one of those things in Age of Empires 2, if the game isn't over by about 45-50 minutes, maybe that's a bit early, maybe more like 50 to 60 minutes, then the game can go on because it does turn into this kind of like late game stalemate, and it's very difficult to break it.
That indeed. Also, Dark Paladin reminds me. Another reason why Malay elite battle elephants disintegrate is they're also missing bloodlines, which is quite bad.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
Malay.
so they have the worst light cavalry. They have some of the worst stable in the game in the late. If you like neglect their battle elephants entirely, this stable is awful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, for TaToh, he does get bloodlines, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
He does,
yeah.
but no blast furnace.
Yeah, so he's missing that +4 attack on these light cavalry, but even still, I mean, they do stand up pretty well versus these two-handed swordsmen. If you look at the stats on the two-handed swordsman versus the light cav have more HP but less attack, but they have equal melee armor. So actually putting the light cavalry in here does work. But then you remember that actually for Nicov right now, these two-handed swordsmen don't cost any gold, and they're basically just trash, exactly like the light cavalry is anyway.
Yeah, they're not as good rating units, but those two-handed swordsmen eat trash units for breakfast. Tear right through them, and they're amazing value. They're cheaper than a Hussar, and they just destroy all of the trash units in melee combat. But TaToh holding onto this hill, clinging onto it for dear life. This is the hill that's going to decide this game, and neither player wants to let go of it. So many units lost, but Nicov not going to give up that fight, and instead he's attacking that castle on the bottom side now, which is actually undefended.
Yep, just taking it out with these two-handed swordsmen. Why not? I mean, there's literally...
Are there murder holes?
I don't think so. No murder holes, so he can just bring that down. But still,
oh my god,
he is losing this fight in the middle. I mean, he is just throwing everything at this, and TaToh's just sitting here like, come at me, mate. You what? What are you going to do? This is great for TaToh, and it's kind of like a war of attrition. Looking at TaToh's economy, though, he has like no wood left at all. I'm wondering if he's actually able to secure much here. He's lost all access to wood in the south, and he's only got like 15 or less. No, he's got even less. He's got like 12 villagers gathering wood here. So wood income for TaToh is basically nil, and that's a problem because he can't replenish his military then.
Yeah, this is basically the dream for the Vietnamese, where you're in the super late game and you have so many massive Imperial skirmishers. It's a lot of value, except this dream is slowly turning into a nightmare for him as he's running out of wood. He has like one good wood line left on the map, and if we compare it to Nicov, he's running out as well, but he just has a bit more of a safer wood line. As soon as Nicov can remove that darn castle on the bottom side, which he's really trying to do, and it's really funny that he actually forced TaToh to make like a few rattan archers because he didn't have murder rolls.
Yeah, do you know what's a really big thing right now for Nicov? Is that he actually has got a lot more resources in the bank saved. So he's currently sitting on 5.5k wood, 5k food. So that means he can keep spamming trash. He can keep making skirms. He can keep making two hands. He can keep making halbs. It's no problem for him. So right now, he is in a stronger position, in my opinion, in terms of economy, but he still can't fight this army. Like, every time he comes in here, it's like TaToh just destroys him. And eventually, it's so hard to say who's going to come out on top.
I completely agree there, Zach. He has an absurd amount of resources in the bank, so he's ready for the long run. But he's going to need every penny he can get because that army of the Vietnamese, God, it's just so bulky. It's going to take every penny he has just to make a dent in it. This hill has been the bane of his existence. And once again, the castle on top of this cliff will probably fall. It's going to be very difficult for him to take down this Treb.
Yeah, in the south, Nicov really going for that castle once again, and I think he might be successful as he brings another wave of two-handed swordsmen in. This is quite funny. There's a lot of archers behind here, but these two-handed swordsmen, they're actually going to bring the castle down. Oh my goodness. And that's going to deny TaToh more wood once again as they move on towards these rattan archers. And yeah, I think Nicov should win that fight, to be honest. But in the middle, yeah, he's going to lose his own castle. And so far this game, like every time one player's lost a castle, the other player's lost one somewhere else on the map.
I love me some arson, and man, is it paying for itself here. Has that castle gone down, and Nicov knows that he needs to kill that castle because we're running out of wood on the map, and even though he has a bunch of wood in the bank, he needs to secure this one. So this two-handed swordsman doing some good work on the bottom, and then Nicov getting raided on the top area as well. We can see his lumberjacks going idle here. Wood is going to decide this game, and also, TaToh's immortal army of Imperial skirms. If he just had like one monk healing them, he would not lose a single unit.
Yeah, arguably. That's the thing, right? It's like, does he even need any resources if his army is invincible anyway? I mean, surely he will lose some units, but it's kind of funny because he is just doing so much work with these guys. I'm going to be interested to see the military score at the end of the game, just to see what the KDs are for these players. I imagine we're well over 1,000 units killed and lost for both players so far.
You know, this game has been going on for a long time when I've exhausted both the Age of Kings and the Conquerors soundtracks, and now it's playing the new music for the Rise of the Rajas expansion.
I actually haven't.
And now,
I haven't got the music on in game, so I've not experienced that yet.
I left it on, but I have a mod that has both the Age of Kings and the Conquerors soundtrack. So we went through every song on both discs, and now we're on to the new music, which is cool. The Caprams are making the push. TaToh's army. It's an immovable object. Nicov has value units, but he just can't kill these Imperial skirmishers.
Yeah, I mean, they're overkilling every unit, but they never even reach him. Like, his light cabs in the front just kind of do a little bit of tanking, and his elite scams on the hill just shred everything. Meanwhile, Nicov, he was being raided. Yeah, the left side. His economy's got a few of those light cavalry in it as well. And he's trying to redistribute his eco a little bit as his wood line at the back's ran out now. He still has full population though, and TaToh as well, very close to 200 out of 200 pop. He still has more gold in the bank, and he has now exhausted the final gold mine, I think. In the center of the map, it's currently being clustered around by these villagers, but that will be exhausted, and TaToh's sitting with about 1k gold. That's pretty comfortable for him.
Yeah, however, Nicov has 3,000 wood in the bank, which is also valuable, but it doesn't matter how much money these people actually have in the bank, because they can't kill these damn rattan archers and these Imperial skirmishers. These things are absolutely immortal. By the way, to answer that question in the chat about the Malay versus the Goss, or like Vietnamese versus the Goss. Even though battle elephants do eat Huskarls for breakfast, the Goss player can just easily mix like halbs into his army to deal with that. So generally it can be a big problem for them in terms of value in the late game. And speaking of value, I think that the TaToh's troops have just been performing tremendously well here. He is building a forward siege workshop. Nicov very slowly losing ground. He's going to need to think of something to turn this game around.
Yeah, and maybe it's going to be one of those war of attrition style games. Both players here have over 100 military units still. They are spread around in different areas and whatnot, but yeah, right now the push is coming in from TaToh, and it's Nicov the one who's forced to defend. I think TaToh is going to break through here. It really looks like he's going to have the edge, to be honest. But then again, I didn't notice that huge number of two hands coming in as well. Hard to say.
I mean, that is a lot of them, as they are slowly closing the gap. Nicov does have TaToh surrounded. If he would just move his elite skirms on top of this hill, then maybe he can do this. But really what he needs is just somehow muster the gold to build an onager and get a good onager shot to clear this out. It might not even kill them, but it's a good way to at least weaken the army, create some space. TaToh going to do some more raiding, kite Nikov's army around. TaToh going to secure this hill too. Things are looking really dicey.
For Nicov, yeah, for sure. I mean, Nicov right now, this is the thing, he still has the bank to just pump out units. And if we look at his barracks, look at these barracks right here. They're all queued out. Like, you know, 10 two-handed swordsmen, 5 two-handed swordsmen, 7, 8, 6, 4, 4. Like, he's just queuing. And even as soon as he loses units, there's more. It's like an infinite wave of units here. And TaToh's army, it's a little bit like 300. TaToh's army of rattan archers and Imperial skirms just holding it, while there's just an endless supply of two-handed swordsmen running at them.
But wait, Zach. Okay, Nicov might actually have something he can cling on to here.
Okay.
TaToh has like no wood at all at this point, which means he cannot replace his army very efficiently at all. So Nicov might be able to somehow bleed TaToh dry here by just throwing away units like crazy, thousands of units, just to make TaToh spend like 500 wood. TaToh really needs to secure that wood line where his castle was on the bottom side, but it's getting raided by two-handed swordsmen. Maybe Nicov can bleed this out. Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, TaToh is on wood quite heavily now, actually. He has got the wood on the sort of northeast side of his base, and he's got the wood at the southwest as well. So, I mean, honestly, I think TaToh's in a good position still. I mean, he has exhausted all of his gold, and Nicov is just literally just throwing hundreds of thousands of units at him. But, I mean, there's still no end of food here. Like, Nicov, just look at these farms. There's just endless farms. And if we look at his mill, it's probably queued out. Okay, I'd take that back. It's not queued out. But That's a lot of farming going on right there, and that means a lot of food, which means a lot of two-handed swordsmen. It's just endless, endless floods of them. Until, I mean, we're eventually going to hit a point where there is no wood left, and when there's no wood, there's no farms, and when there's no farms, no two-handed swordsmen, and then whoever has the most units left at the end wins. I guess.
Indeed. Nikov's strategy this game has been throw everything and the kitchen sink at TaToh.
Yeah.
And this is just such a cool game because it really showcases the strengths and weaknesses of each civilization. This is the Vietnamese playing the value game with their slow push. And this is the Malay saying, screw value. I'm going to throw everything at you. I don't care how many units I lose. And eventually just grind you out. The only thing this match is missing is if Nicov put down a dock and he started making some infinite fish traps in the world's smallest pond.
God, that's actually genius. Like
infinite food.
I mean, I was literally just saying that, you know, the Malay, if they run out of wood, they run out of food by default. Well, not if you put down some docks and actually make fishing traps, because the Malay have infinite food from their fish traps. Is that where we're going to go with this one? I mean, this is what happens, isn't it? When you've got two players who are just so good at the game that neither of them can win.
They're both way too good. They're so evenly matched that all we need is a fish trap. By the way, thank you so much, Nano, for the compliment. I always really enjoy co-casting with Zach. I think we make a great duo. And this match is absolutely crazy. There are so many two-handed swordsmen here. He just has to drain a little bit more money from TaToh. He's running out of health.
Yeah, I can't believe this. Nikov's still got 6k food, though. So it's like, you know, 6k food translates to, that's 100 two-handed swordsmen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he can still make another 100 two-handed swordsmen, and that's just what he's got right now. That's not even considering how much he's already queued up and how much more food he's going to gather over the next minutes. So it's kind of crazy.
Well, that it is. This is like the longest game we've had so far in the tournament. One of the longest games I've casted in such a while. And honestly, it's not really clear who's going to win.
No, it really isn't. I've got a suspicion it could be Nicov, but I mean, I don't know. I actually had an estimation that the average game length would be 45 minutes, like the average over the whole tournament. Seems like my estimate was a little off.
Well, that would be correct if this one didn't skew everything by so very much. As this game, no real end in sight. Both players running out of wood. I just need to see a fish trap to make this the best day of my life. Just one fish trap.
There's 22 wood in the bank for Nicov here. He's still got a few trees left in the corner of the map. There's some stragglers down here on the southwest, and this one here as well. But yeah, I mean, TaToh's basically chopped himself through. There's, I guess, some at the edge of the map. I mean, it just comes to a kind of a crazy Where's Wally game, where you're just looking to spot the last trees so you can grab whatever wood you can. TaToh, yeah, I mean, still population capped. Nicov still population capped, and I think they're both getting to the point where it's like, okay, screw raiding, screw split pushing, just get everything in one place and just see who wins.
Every last penny matters here, and you'd think this would favor the Vietnamese because their troops are so much more efficient than the Malay ones. It's just that Nicov has spent so much less money over the course of the game.
Is this the push? Is this the push from Nicov here?
It might be.
TaToh
Look at
is
these two-handed swordsmen.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, he's got to reinforce. And TaToh's taking down his barracks with these rams. I mean...
what timestamp are you at?
1:45:43.
Ah, okay.
This looks... I mean, he got the hill, but okay. Is this the push? He's got to reinforce. Like, the only way Nicov can do this, if he keeps reinforcing, he has to throw everything at the wall right now. But TaToh just has too many archers, and these units are just falling.
This hill!
Oh, man. Hills
this hill
everywhere.
The entire game, just absolutely untouchable. Nicov just spam Shift S, sending every single two-handed swordsman he can out of... How many barracks does he have? This match is crazy. But TaToh is actually sustaining some losses, and he only has 50 wood in the bank. No gold, 144 population.
Is that it? I mean, TaToh here has 160 pop. He hasn't got enough wood to make any more units. Nicov, 170 pop.
Retreating.
And Nikov's going back. He's got to regroup. He's fallen down to 3,000 food.
Not like this.
Come on, Nicov. Get the fish traps out. You can do it. Unlimited food, Nicov.
Both players here just like, hey,
wow.
can I have some wood? I need my fix. How many innocent two-handed swordsmen must die for our petty war? The answer is millions more, as this game is apparently not over yet. That was not the game-defining push. TaToh still has an army of rattan archers.
I think
Good Lord.
I think what we need to do is, I mean, I wish we could set this up where like we have a we open up a guess to the chat for how many units were killed this game in total, like for both players, and the winner gets like a key or something. Sadly, I can't do that. I can't do that. Unless
it would be impossible to manage, but that's a cool idea.
Unless we like control effort. But then I don't know. I mean, like in the chat, you could search. I don't think it would work. But between me and you, we can do a little guess at the end of the game as to how many units have been killed in total for both players. And I'll trust you not to cheat.
I won't cheat, but I think that I'm going to lose that estimate, as I have never seen this many units thrown away like this, and I've played a lot of the gods. Nicov has absolutely no fear for his KD, and once again, TaToh backed up on this hill that he's been on for an hour and 48 minutes.
This time around, there's some cap rams. And this could be the defining factor for Nicov here. Although here comes a onager from TaToh. Will he kill a few of his own units? Maybe?
Wow, this is crazy.
Nikov's
so this is also
hill.
smart. Oh, he does! And, okay, so Nicov is throwing in some cap rams, even though he's not killing any buildings, because these archer units will automatically attack the units that are closest to them. This is something that we see often in competitive Mayan mirror matches, where they will use the siege rams to soak up those plumed archer hits. That onager is down, and now the cap rams have actually managed to force TaToh off that hill. Nicov has the hill, ladies and gentlemen.
And hilariously enough, as soon as Nicov got the hill, TaToh took the score lead. Oh my gosh. But anyway, TaToh has a small band of units on this left side. Actually going to go do some raiding with them. That could be really effective here. But yeah, Nicov has the hill. Will he be able to push this back? Well, I don't know about that. We'll see. TaToh still queuing the rattan archers up and still making those elite or imperial skirms. But I feel like this is going the way of Nicov here. It really is starting to shift into his favor. TaToh down to 160 population, and he just doesn't have the wood to make any more units. Nicov, on the other hand, still at 190, 200 pop with 5k food in the bank, and that's all he needs. He just needs food in order to make these two-handed swordsmen, which so far have secured him this hill, and he is starting to pull it back. Or
making those 3 cap rams, God, that was a smart decision on his part. Forcing TaToh back.
came
TaToh
down
only
to that.
has 10 lumberjacks remaining, and there is almost no wood left on the map to grab at all.
Yeah.
This is going to be bad for him.
Yeah, when you're...
He has that raiding force, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he could raid, but I think even if he raids now, Nicov can still afford another 100 plus two-hands anyway. I mean, the thing here is that TaToh has this castle, and I think Nicov needs to take that out in order to start crushing this. Oh, man. I mean, Nicov has to have this game, surely. TaToh here,
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
I don't know what he's going to do now. Now the wood is legitimately, like, all gone.
I would have never expected that this is how the game would end, considering that TaToh must have the KD of the gods this game. He has killed so many units, and I do think that Nicov probably has to this point too, especially if he builds a dock and one infinite fish trap, then he can't lose. Oh, I don't think he will though, and I think that's fine. No one really ever thinks to put fish traps, build fish traps in Arabia, but I remember when Sijin was talking about his idea for the bonus, that was one of the first things that we joked about. Is like, you know, maybe one of these days someone will actually build a fish trap on Arabia.
And hey, here we are. But hey, look at this. TaToh moving his army down to the south. Meanwhile, Nicov loading up the rams, closing the gap to this castle. And this is what I was just talking about. I was literally just saying, if he takes this castle, it opens the door to TaToh's eco back here. And this castle will go down. Like, I have no doubt this castle is going to fall right now. TaToh's army out of position, but he's taking a risk. If he moves his entire army over here, will this force Nicov back? Or is he just doing this so he can secure this wood over here?
One interesting thing to note, that might be one of the last the actual wood lines on the map. The Vietnamese are one of the few civilizations in the game that do not get both architecture and masonry. So this castle just completely disintegrates. It is down, made of paper mache, and this town center is down too. And with that, that might be it for TaToh, because he's also lost his only wood line remaining. His economy in absolute shambles. He has to make light cavalry. which are just not going to be good enough, and he's going to lose his entire base. This might be GG.
I think this is it. I think Nikov's got this. And what did you say? The castle went down like paper mache.
Yes.
Well, since he's playing the Vietnamese, can't we say it went down like paper money? Hey, Lamau. Anyway.
Like rice paper.
Just in case people didn't get that reference, let me just put the Vietnamese Civ bonuses up there on the screen for you. Paper money, the unique technology. And I think it's over. Wow, TaToh calling GG. Nicov
what a crazy game.
Gets the victory. Ultimately, it came down to an attrition of wood after an hour and 55 minutes of game time.
Good lord. GG well played. Such a well played game on both sides here. I never would have imagined that this Arabia game, Arabia being one of the most aggressive maps in the game, would actually go so late that there's almost no wood left on the map, and the two-handed swordsman would be the unit to actually win the game. Oh my god.
Okay, so how many units were killed, Rez? What do you reckon?
Oh yeah, I haven't clicked quick current game. Okay, so, oh god. I'm gonna guess that. Oh, between both players?
Yeah, both players added up, combined. What do you think?
Oh
Units
no.
killed?
I'm gonna guess 6,000 units.
All right, I'm gonna go with 4,500.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I'm scared.
So
I'm gonna click.
see.
I'm gonna go. Oh shit.
Oh, I think I won.
Disaster.
So
Yeah,
so total there was 41. There was 3,279 units killed, which is still pretty nuts. And you were right, it was TaToh who had the units killed advantage there. What a crazy game, guys! What a crazy game. We do still have one more match this evening as well, so it looks like it's going to be a late night, but I anticipated that anyway. Quick look over the economy here. It looks like TaToh did have a huge amount of additional gold, but in the end it didn't matter because Nicov simply won by spamming those champions, of which he did have an extra 10,000, an extra, what is that? That's 23,000 extra food to do it with, which is pretty impressive. But there you go. We're going to chuck it over to Nilford in just a minute, but any closing thoughts, Rez?
Well, TaToh actually explored 100% of the map, and overall that was just a crazy game and a lot of fun to cast. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next game and to hear Nilford's analysis. GG well played.
Yeah, so like I say, we'll chuck it over to Nilford in just a second. But yeah, we've got one more match tonight. Sadly, with that loss, TaToh will be going home. He does, however, finish in 5th/6th position, which means that although now he is eliminated, he does qualify for a $100 prize, which isn't too bad. And Nicov will continue on in the lower bracket. I'll show you the brackets after Nilford's analysis here, and we'll get the next game underway this evening. It will be the final elimination game of the day, and that will be for the 4th player to be eliminated before we move to tomorrow, where we'll watch the semi-finals and the others. So over to Nilford.
Oh boy, what a match here. Oof. That was intense by TaToh and Nicov for sure. So let's try to roll it up from the end. In the end, obviously the two-hand swordsman of the Malay won the game, and Nicov just had an incredible army. But how could he afford that? Obviously it was because his eco was so superior to the one of TaToh, but how did we get into this situation? The rating of Nicov was so strong in this mid to early Imperial Age, and let's see why. TaToh is controlling this hill. Everything is okay. He has elite skirmishers, he has onagers, two very defensive armies, nothing is happening. But then TaToh realizes, oh god, this area might be important, 2 gold spots, 2 hills, and yeah, let's better move everything down. He's sending all his skirmishers, sending his traps, sending his onagers, and just trying to secure this area. And I like this idea in general, but at the same time, he keeps the middle absolutely exposed. He didn't need to send all elite skirmishers and all onagers. Look at this. Every single unit is now over here. All the defense is over here just to protect the traps. But there isn't a single, like, night out or, like, some small infantry units who could kill the traps. At the same time, we can now see Nicov is actually going for the middle. And TaToh is claiming this area. Well done. But now he's trying to go back. But at this time, he lost all the middle. And now the skirmishers can launch attack. We saw 15 archery rangers here. TaToh cannot win this fight against the hill here. And therefore, Nicov got this hill position. This was a key hill in the middle of the game. You saw this gold was controlled for such a long time. He could raid all the wood spots. We didn't see this wood spot raided all the time. And yeah, TaToh did reclaim it for some time, but always with huge losses. Nicov could build his eco at all the places, could raid where he wanted to. This wood was very contested all the time. And yeah, this one attack, I believe, was so crucial that Nicov got all the raids in and got like a huge amount of wood and food banked up. Nicov did play it super slowly to close out the game. I think he could have done it like a solid half hour earlier without banking his resources and actually starving TaToh out. But just at one point, use your 6k wood, 6k food, kill 40 villagers, build 40 more two-hand swordsmen and go for the kill. But he went for the long approach to make it super safe and didn't want to drop out here. So therefore we got in the very long game, although I thought at like this minute it felt super over. That's it for me. Thank you guys. And yeah, excited for the last game of the night. Still with the Resonance 22 and ZeroEmpires.